What if I told you the story most people know about Elon Musk is incomplete? The narrative usually starts with PayPal, then rockets, electric cars. But long before global headlines, before the wealth, the controversy, the mythology, there were fragile ideas, tiny offices, sleepless nights, and startups so obscure, even some of his biggest followers have never heard of them. This is not the story of a billionaire. This is the story of the crucible, the forgotten years that forged the mindset behind the empire. It was before the fame. The media loves simple stories. Visionary founder builds world-changing companies. But real transformation isn't simple. It's messy, uncertain, uncomfortable. Before Silicon Valley recognition, before venture capital interest, there was just a young immigrant chasing possibility, from Pretoria to North America, driven by curiosity and ambition rather than certainty. He didn't begin with massive resources. He began with code, ideas, and an almost irrational belief that technology could reshape civilization. The question wasn't how big he would become. The question was whether anything he built would survive at all. His first serious plunge into entrepreneurship came in the mid-1990s. A startup called Zip2. Today, the concept sounds ordinary. Online business directories, digital maps, city navigation tools. But at the time, this was radical. The internet was barely understood. Search engines were primitive. Digital location services were experimental. Zip2 aimed to help newspapers bring local business listings online. Essentially a digital city guide. Years before modern mapping platforms existed. But vision alone didn't guarantee success. Resources were scarce. Funding was uncertain. The work was relentless. Stories from that period describe long nights coding, sleeping in offices, showering at public facilities. Not glamour, not prestige, just survival. And then came the business lessons. Negotiations, control struggles, boardroom dynamics, investors reshaping direction. Zip2 didn't just teach technical execution. It taught power structures, decision hierarchy, compromise versus conviction. Eventually, the company was acquired, and Musk walked away with capital. But more importantly, he walked away with pattern recognition. How industries resist change. How scale transforms ideas. How timing determines survival. Zip2 wasn't a household name, but it was the blueprint. With capital and experience gained, the next move wasn't cautious. It was audacious. Musk launched X.com, an online financial services company. At the time, banking was physical, institutional, conservative. Trust required buildings, not browsers. X.com challenged that assumption. The vision was sweeping. A unified digital bank, money transfers, financial management, entire monetary relationships handled online. It sounds obvious today. It wasn't then. Competition was intense. Technology was immature. Public trust in digital finance was fragile. There were internal conflicts, strategic pivots, leadership turbulence. Eventually, X.com merged with a competitor, a product that would evolve into PayPal. But the mythology often begins there, ignoring the years of conceptual groundwork that preceded it. X.com wasn't just a stepping stone. It was experimentation at scale, a proving ground for risk tolerance, decision speed, industry disruption. It refined something deeper than product design, a worldview that entire systems could be rebuilt if someone dared to challenge their foundations. Between major ventures existed quieter chapters, side explorations, technological detours, concepts that never gained spotlight. Not every attempt generated headlines. Not every experiment succeeded, but each provided friction, market resistance, technical limitations, operational complexity. These moments rarely appear in biographies because they lack spectacle. Yet they are the true laboratories of innovation. Failure clarifies judgment. Obscurity sharpens adaptability. Constraint forces creativity. The myth of uninterrupted ascent. ignores the invisible iterations that actually produce mastery. The forgotten projects were not detours. They were refinement engines. When we connect the dots, patterns emerge. Audacious ambition, choosing difficult problems. Relentless execution, working beyond comfort. Risk tolerance, embracing uncertainty. Iteration, learning publicly or privately. These traits didn't appear during Tesla. They didn't begin with SpaceX. They were forged in underfunded offices, experimental code bases, and startups few remember. Zip2 built operational resilience. X.com built systemic vision. The forgotten years built psychological endurance. Success wasn't sudden. It was cumulative. Every global figure has a chapter the world overlooks, not because it lacks importance, but because it lacks spectacle. Elon Musk's story didn't start with PayPal. It began with obscure platforms, uncertain bets, and lessons written in risk. And maybe that's the deeper truth behind every transformation. The foundations of greatness are often invisible until they aren't. If you want more stories that reveal what happened before the headlines, before the legacy, before the spotlight, subscribe. Because success doesn't begin where the world starts watching. Was before the fame.